Hello, and welcome to Partnership Lake Houston's Candidate Forum for the Humble ISD Trustee election. This candidate interview event is a project of Partnership Lake Houston's Public Affairs Committee. Today's interviews are being produced by DNA Studios. I'm Erica Johnston, Public Affairs Chair for Partnership Lake Houston, and I will be your host today. Before we get started with our candidate interviews, I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone of voting dates, times, and locations. Early voting dates and times are Tuesday, April 19th through Saturday, April 24th from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Sunday, April 26th from 12 p.m. until 7 p.m. Monday, April 26th from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. and Tuesday, April 27th from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Polling locations in the Lake Houston area include the Humble Civic Center, Lake Houston Church of Christ, and the Kingwood Community Center. Both the Humble Civic Center and Kingwood Community Center offer drive-through voting. Election day is Saturday, May 1st from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Polling locations can be found at harrisvotes.com. Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 3, Jesse Givens. Jesse, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So Jesse, tell us what prompted you to run for school board this term.
Well, my name's Jesse Givens, and I am one of two generations of Humble ISD graduates. I started at Timbers Elementary, I went to Atascocita Middle School, and graduated from Humble High School back in the 90s. I went away to college and came back to work with the community in community development, which I did for a number of years downtown as a city planner and a community development expert. When I decided to run for school board was because I noticed that we needed more representation on the board. I live in Atascocita and I graduated from Humble High School. There aren't many people on the board who actually graduated from Humble High School or the district at all. There also aren't many people on the board who live in the Atascocita or Humble area. We feel like from Humble, Atascocita, Lake Houston Parkway, down the Beltway, all parents and all children should be represented on the board. I care about your children. I care that you have representation on the board. That's why I'm running.
So describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, how you can affect the outcome.
The biggest issue facing the district is a combination of items between giving parents and teachers the resources they need for better parent-teacher communications, and secondly, giving teachers the resources they need to do a great job. Now, COVID has caught everybody's attention as one of the big issues. COVID is a big issue. It's huge, but COVID is going away. And from year to year, from time to time, there's a new issue that arises. But if we can put in place parent-teacher relations, giving teachers the resources that they need to do their jobs well, we can react better when the next issue comes up. Those are fundamental issues. Those are foundational issues that affect everyone in the district. As I mentioned, I went away to college. I went to Yale first as an undergraduate. Then I went to Harvard, where I studied urban planning and community development. I worked in community development for the city of Houston for over 10 years. And I've worked as a community development and real estate specialist in private practice. And what I've found and what I've learned is you have to have sustainable practices in place so that as you grow, you can react, but also as challenges come, you can react. And it's very sustainable to give the teachers the resources they need and the parents and teachers the resources they need to further and better their communications.
So what do you feel the district's role is in workforce preparedness?
Thank you for asking that question. The district has a huge role. You can't underestimate that role. It's a huge role in workforce preparedness. From elementary on, we're training our future leaders. We're training our future workforce. The district's role is primary in that. Whether students go on to vocational schools, whether they go on to professional schools, colleges, and universities, or whether they get a job right out of high school. Many students go into the military. That's a great option. And every single one of those options deserves respect, but it also deserves emphasis and training at the teacher level and the intermediate level. Let's not forget, The teachers are directly interacting with the children and the students, but right above the teachers, there's an intermediate level. We need to get that training at the intermediate level, at the teacher level, so that our students can be prepared for the real world.
So what business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
Thank you. Well, I've worked with community development my entire professional career. As I mentioned, again, I graduated from Harvard in 2004 with a master's degree in urban planning and community development. Since that time, I've focused in community development. That's from subdivision planning, that's from community empowerment, that's from political activism, all of those things, religious organizing, nonprofit organizing, all of those things I've worked in. One of the things that's very interesting is that when I worked for the city of Houston, we had a planning commission. It's a board that's very similar to the school board, although it's a different function that they regulate. Having worked in that setting for years, I'm very familiar with how such boards work and operate, their powers and their limitations. But one thing I think is very important is that the board remain transparent to the parents, transparent to the taxpayers, transparent to the business owners, transparent to the community. If I were elected to school board, you would see more transparency. You would have an open dialogue, a better dialogue with the board as parents. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to parents, and I've even talked to teachers who've voiced their frustration when trying to communicate with the higher ups in the district, that they sometimes are met with a wall. But I want to break that wall down.
Well, that's all the questions we have for you today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jesse.
Thank you for having me. Please check me out at gowithgivens.com. That's my website, or on Facebook at Go With Givens. Again, my name is Jesse Givens, and I'm running for Humble ISD School Board Trustee, position number 3. Thank you.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee, position 3, Chris Parker. Chris, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Erica.
So Chris, tell us, what prompted your decision to run for school board this term?
Well, first, I wanted to begin by thanking the Chamber, by thanking the Lake Houston Partnership for having us. I think I first joined the partnership in 1997 when it was the Humble Chamber, and we've had several evolutions over the days, and it was such a thrill for the campaign to be able to join the Lake Houston Partnership. I was a graduate of the Leadership Lake Houston program through the partnership, and was real active in the Lives Over Levels campaign to help protect our area from future flooding. But why am I running for Humble ISD School Board? So I want to continue that volunteerism. I've been a long-time volunteer for the area, and I have spent thousands and thousands of hours of my life volunteering for the Humble ISD area, and I really want to continue that volunteerism. As we know, the board is a volunteer position, and I've served on many boards, and I want to bring that experience to the district. And I'm a mom. I have 2 kiddos. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old who are students here in Humble ISD, and I want to protect my kids and protect all the students of Humble ISD. We really care about the kids.
So describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, what can you do to affect the outcome?
So the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD is going to be continued issues from COVID. We're going to have to virtual learning, whether you like it or don't like it, virtual learning is going to be here to stay. And I think that we're going to really have to get those programs up and running and be better, as good or better as our live program. So I think that in the upcoming years, we're going to need to worry about cybersecurity, cyberbullying, all of cyber breach. I'm a trainer in the insurance industry, so cyber liability and data breach is something that I talk about in my class, and it's going to be an ongoing issue, and I just want to be a watchdog about cyber issues.
So what do you feel is the district's role in workforce preparedness?
I am so glad that you asked me this question, because I think that it's really You know, when we're teaching our babies how to read, why are we teaching them? For a lifetime of learning. And I think that, you know, the number one thing that the district does is prepare these kids for college, career, or military. And it's so important. It's so important. I'm a graduate of Kingwood High School, and I did the college route. I graduated from Kingwood in '93, went on to be, just like you, Erica, a lumberjack, Axum Jacks. And really my opportunities at Kingwood High School really prepared me for college. Now, my husband Jason graduated from Humble High School. He didn't go the college route. He went to A&P Mechanic School, and then he went on to the Air Force. And so he was a career and technology guy. And the opportunities at Humble High School, he was in ag. He's a '91 graduate of Humble High School. He learned how to weld at Humble High School, and he still uses that skill set to this day. So Humble ISD prepared us both well for our careers, and we want to have that same opportunity for every single solitary student in the district.
So what business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
So like I said, I'm a trainer in the insurance industry, so I train a property and casualty meaning liability, and life health class. So the district has lots of insurance needs, and that's the thing that the board does do. We approve the budget, so we approve all the insurance stuff, and that's my background. I love risk management. But I've served on, I mean, I can't even count how many boards in our area, and I think that board experience is really important. I was on Mothers Against Cancer board. I currently serve on the Board of Governors at the Clubs of Kingwood. And reading budgets, governance, I think is really important. I've been, like I said, I've volunteered thousands and thousands of hours. I'm a graduate, like I said, of the Leadership Lake Houston program. I did the leadership the Humble ISD Community Leadership Academy. That was a really, really great thing because you were able to go into the schools, see what's going on, witness the education that's going on, but also behind the scenes stuff like transportation, food service. So I was really able to get my feet wet. I think I served on my first bond review committee in 2001, and really, really just a good experience. I have lots of experiences with our community.
Well, those are all the questions we have for you today. Thank you, Chris, for joining us.
Thanks, Erica.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 3, Donté Washington. Donté, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Man, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you.
So, Donté, tell us, what prompted your decision to run for school board this term?
I think that is a wonderful question, and the thing that prompted me is I truly have a burden, not just for children, but I have a burden for people. And I've had a passion in particular for youth and young adults since my early 20s. I know some may look at me and say, well, aren't you about 20 something? Yes, correct. I'm 28. But literally for the past, I'll say 7 or 8 years, I've been helping not only students that are in the primary education aspect, but also secondary, and been heavily involved the past 6 or 7 years with developing and training college students to be successful students in the workforce. Another thing that just strongly prompted me is I am a man of diversity. When I say I'm strong on fairness and equality for all, I'm a man of no respect to person. And I mentioned that word equality, and the thing that comes to my mind is the quote from the Declaration of Independence, where it talks about we hold these truths, and it is self-evident that all men are created equal. By who? By God. So I'm strong on ensuring that everybody is treated fair. And when I use the word equity, it just means this on this wise, is that giving resources and things to the need. And finally, just as a youth, I'm youthful, I'm vibrant, I'm ready to get in there, and I'm ready to work. And as well as this, is that I believe I can bring a new, fresh start.
So describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, how can you affect that outcome?
Excellent question. You asked some excellent questions. I'll say that. And the main thing is literacy. We know during this COVID time, right, especially in the most crucial times to learn and to be able to read and write, etc. Literacy, if you can read and write, you can do virtually anything. You can virtually learn anything, whether you want to be an architect, learn math, social studies. I believe that if we can increase that literacy rate, then them students will be more effective to learn even a second language, right? So my advocacy for this is that I want to push that we establish programs and different things like that so that children, especially in this time that are in the 3rd grade, right, going on to the 4th grade, I want to ensure that, hey, not only can we catch them up, but they can go on and progress forward. So however that looks, however that comes about, I want to do that.
So what do you feel is the district's role in workforce preparedness?
The district role, as far as workforce preparedness, is this. It's not just on the district. This here is a group effort, you know, because understanding this, 185 days out of the year, they with mama and daddy or guardian. And the 180 days of the year, they're with the district. So number one, I think this is going to heavily require a group effort. Now, as far as the district, I do think it is very, very important that we set up programs, because I'm going to be honest with you, not every student wants to go to college. Me, myself, I was fortunate to go to college, but I'm an entrepreneur. You don't need a college degree to become an entrepreneur. You don't need a college degree to become an electrician. You don't need a college degree to become a plumber. And these different, especially if they take it from an entrepreneurial standpoint, these different gateways are very profitable careers. So I think it's very important that we create many opportunities, not only to make them college ready, which we do discuss, but also making them workforce ready as far as let's make entrepreneurship big, you know, because entrepreneurship is strongly running this country. An old saying I know parents says we want to leave a better future for our children, right? But I believe this, that our future is dictated by the information that we instill in our children right now.
What business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
Wonderful question. So as I stated, I am a master's degree in business. I have and that's at the University of Houston, as well as my bachelor's at Sam Houston State University. Go Cougs, by the way, and go and eat 'em up, cats, right? But as well as I have 2 businesses, one being an international company. Thirdly, I am an ordained evangelist minister at Refuge Temple Ministries. I do heavy outreach as a director in Highways and Hedges, as well as an on-campus director at True Life Change Bible Study. Now, I'll say this, for all of that experience, the attribute and character that I think I have is this, and I, of course, give all glory to God, is that I'm able to change the heart of a man through the ministry that I have been connected to. And what do I mean? I mean this, that children that had bad attitudes, resentment, don't want to listen to their parents, now they are respectful children. They're not causing trouble on the campus. Students and high school students who was bound by the alcohol and bound by drugs, now getting connected and working with me, now they are sober-minded, not strung out, and they are successful citizens in the community, as well as college students who were on academic probation. Now, all of a sudden, they're graduating with their honors. They're going on to get their masters and becoming very successful. So I think those things right there are very important. These young adults and youth are having a true life change.
Well, those are all the questions we have for you today. It has been a pleasure. Thank you, Donté, for joining us.
Thank you so much. And if I could just leave any words, I'll leave this, is that go out and vote whoever you vote for. Your vote do matter, your vote do count, and God bless you, and I pray God bless you.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 3, James Banks. James, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
So, James, tell us what prompted you to run for school board this term.
I know a lot of people here in the community. I've lived in the Houston area for 40 years. I've lived in Humble for about the last 13 or 14, have a daughter that graduated from here. Plus, I'm a professional educator by profession, and I would like to have an opportunity to contribute and support the student and the parents here in the community.
Describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, how you can affect the outcome.
Well, I get to see what's going on in public education every day. This is what I do for a living. I'm an executive director of technology in a different district. I think not just with the pandemic, but generally, the number one issue that I would identify would be equity. I want to make sure that all students have the same opportunity to learn, that they have access to the same resources to learn, and particularly with what's happened over the past year, that they understand the value of technology. And again, that's what I do. Every student should have access to whatever is going to help them learn not only best at school, but at home, regardless of what their circumstances are.
What do you feel is the district's role in workforce preparedness?
I think we need to make sure that we're providing classes and content for students that are actually preparing them to either walk out and go to work or walk out and go to college. And we need to stop measuring things based on a state standardized test and start measuring them based on societal needs. We can best do that by talking with students who have already left the district and can give us valuable feedback as to what was successful and what was not successful for them. And we need to look very carefully at the programs that we have. Not everyone's going to go to school. Some students need to walk out and immediately start in the workforce. What are we doing from a standpoint of trades, industrial activities, fine arts, that are actually really preparing them for that?
What business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and/or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
Well, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I've served with the church here for almost 40 years. That's a large part of our life, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm a professional educator. I've worked for a number of different public school districts and some private ones over the course of the last 35 years, as far as I know, and I could be wrong. But as far as I know, I'm the only candidate that's running that actually has experience with public schools. I know what some of the challenges are that they're facing. I've worked with community members, students, parents, board members, teachers, so I understand what's going on both in front and behind the scenes.
Well, those are all the questions we have for you today. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining us today, James.
Hey, thank you.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 3, Dr. Wilbert Baker. Dr. Wilbert, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Dr. Wilbert, tell us what prompted your decision to run for school board this term.
Thank you. The short answer is easy. It was really a divine prompting. The long answer is that I've been in public education. I received a great public education, and now I think I have a moral responsibility to ensure that others receive that same high-quality education.
So describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD today, and as a trustee, how you can affect the outcome.
Well, based upon the TAPER report, I think that the most urgent issue is early education, particularly reading and math, specifically third grade, among those who are economically challenged. And the way that I see that we can address that situation is making sure that all students, regardless of demographic dimensions, receive equity in the district so that Humble is known as a great school district.
So what do you feel is the district's role in workforce preparedness?
I feel the district's role in workforce preparedness is to create a system and monitor a system that produces graduates who are ready to go to work, that companies are excited to hire, and that they will come back understanding that when they come to Humble, they'll get a quality product each and every year.
So what business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and/or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
Well, I think my life's journey has prepared me specifically for this role. I have 3 decades of project management experience in U.S. companies and foreign companies, but I think what makes me uniquely prepared is the opportunity that I've had to found and start an organization from scratch. By doing that, I've been able to show that I have vision, to show that I can cast vision, to show that I can lead people through the fruition to bring the vision to pass. Also, I am accustomed to working with very restricted budgets. And even though those budgets have been small, been able to lead people to do great things because they believed in the vision. And so what I think that makes me unique is the personal experience to take something from a dream and bring it all the way to fruition and manage people to believe that it is possible.
So those are all the questions we have today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Wilbert, for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure. I'd like to say to our audience, I think what you would appreciate about me is that my experience with people from all gamuts of the spectrum. I am comfortable with the poor. I know how to maneuver with the rich, and I will leave no one out if I'm elected as your trustee.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 3, Liz Diaz. Liz, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me here. It's exciting.
So Liz, what prompted your decision to run for school board this term?
What prompted me is it really was just a deal of our lack of culture and diversity on our school district, with our district being a large number of Hispanics and minority cultures. I felt that the best way for us to have some sort of a voice and maybe some different things towards that will help better understanding of our culture is to have someone on that school board that can say, you know, maybe that won't work, maybe we can change this a little. That was my biggest, was the diversity and the culture for our district and our school board.
So what do you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, how you can affect the outcome?
Oh my goodness, there's so many different things that as a mom and as a trustee I want to help fix or change a little, and it's going to just be the of course my community engagement and parent engagement more so is very close to my heart and dear to my heart. I love that we can reach out to our communities. Every school has a small community elementary school, which gives us a better element to reach out to our community and help our parents, and maybe just start building a types of give back mentoring programs to help our parents better understand how we can help our students to outreach different outcomes in education, you know, meeting maybe homework workshops and programs that can get our parents and students all on the same page, and also help our teachers with better communication, because I feel that if we can, right now with COVID, we haven't had that communication and it's hurting us tremendously. So I feel that we need to get back to our old roots and have parents come back in once everything hopefully goes back to normal next year, and work on getting that community engagement, parent engagement, and business engagements where we can just get all that going. And hopefully, I just feel like I don't know what I'm saying. But no, the community engagement is really dear, and parent engagement, like I said, those are the biggest things, is working with our community, working with our parents to get them going on what we can do better for our students. Yes.
So what do you feel the district's role in workforce preparedness is?
Their role in workforce preparedness for our students. So looking at our portraits of a graduate, I've really started looking into that, because I never really knew much about that until now. And I love how it's preparing our students for a better outcome into their future and decisions of making on what they want to do as a graduate, or once they leave high school, it's preparing them to get that going. I knew also, and I don't know if a lot of parents know, that there's also a store at the main office that the students can come and work. They sell their own products, and it's preparing them for management, work ethics, work etiquettes. And I met with someone last night about a robotics program that they do at Atascocita High School that is amazing. That program actually prepares our students to come out of high school with a license to work drone machinery. And that gives them, once they have that certificate, they can go out and seek jobs that are making $100, $200 an hour. That's a great program that I'm hoping we can, have in all of our high schools to prepare our students for their outcome in education and workforce.
So what business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and/or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
So I've worked with the school districts many years. My oldest is 27, and I have worked in the school district, Aldine School District with them, PTO, parent community groups. I now work with my husband at his nonprofit where he, as an executive director, and I help get our students grants and scholarships and find the right college to fit them with. We also work with different community members to better help our students understand what they can and cannot do. Meaning some of them have like a small goal. They want to be, from my perspective, it's music education. You know, and a lot of parents say, oh, you're not going to go to marching band. You're going to be in band. It's going to be a waste of your time. It's not going to work for you. You're not going to get anything out of it other than being a teacher. But we help them explore all of the outcomes and all of the, law and music education, music theory, music health, music writing, composing. We try to give them a very well-rounded job description of what else they can do with whatever they decided to choose to do in high school or middle school. Yes.
That's very interesting. Well, that's all the questions we have for you today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Liz, so much for joining us.
You're fine. Thank you, guys.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 3, Clint Horn. Clint, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Clint, tell us what prompted you to run for school board this term.
I'm a 13-year resident here in Humble ISD area. I have one graduate from Humble ISD school, and I have 2 kids that currently attend Humble ISD schools. And just the opportunity to serve my community even at a greater level, and just the eagerness. I'm really education-minded. I want to serve the community, and I want to see this district grow even greater.
So describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, how you can affect the outcome.
I think and there are quite a few, the pandemic has made a turn and made one of the issues now more focused on how we move forward during, still, and after the pandemic. So I think one of the greatest issues is going to be how we approach moving forward with in-person and virtual learning. Also, how do we make sure that our teachers are safe, our parents feel that their kids are going to be safe once they return to schools, and also that each and every school, no matter the location, has all the available resources that they need to make sure that's safety. Then after that, there are quite a few other things, such as how we approach funding for Title I schools and all those different things. But I think that is the #1 priority right now moving forward, is how do we make sure our schools have all the necessary resources and the teachers and students are safe.
So what do you feel is the district's role in workforce preparedness?
I think the district's role is a great responsibility to ensure that students, once they are in Humble ISD schools, they're prepared that once they leave and graduate, that they're able to move into the workforce. You'll have a lot of students that will attend college, some that are ready for the workforce. So I believe having that not only available within the Humble ISD district, but also some funding to increase some of the available classes and opportunities for students is a great thing that is needed and needed to be expanded even more. And that's something if elected as Humble ISD trustee board member, I would make sure that I try to make sure those resources are available.
So what business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership experience, and/or community involvement do you feel will be an asset to you as a trustee?
Well, I've quite deal of experience. I'm a local pastor. I've been a pastor for over 10+ years. I'm also a superintendent in my church, which means I oversee 5 additional churches. Also, I'm a trustee for a couple of different organizations in the Houston area. I'm currently the treasurer for the Summerwood Homeowners Association in the Summerwood community, where I've lived for 10+ years. I'm the precinct chair for 0421, and I'm also a chaplain for an organization here in the Houston area. So quite a bit of community involvement that I desire and love doing. I love working with children. My wife runs a daycare, and I assist her at times with that. So I love working with kids. I'm also have been a trainer with MD Anderson for over 15+ years. So that experience in the educational area, and also just working within my community, working with entities such as World Vision after we had the Harvey flood to ensure families got necessary items that were needed. So those things have greatly helped me, and I think are skills that I have that will make a great candidate, myself a great elected candidate for this position.
Well, that's all the questions we have for you today. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for joining us, Clint.
Thank you so much, and I hope that you all will consider me for Position 3 Humble ISD Board of Trustees. Thank you so much for having me.